Simon. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the EAFC Career Mode. It's episode number 55, and today we are saying one final farewell to Luton Town on the back of winning the Champions League final in the last episode with our 2-0 win over Dortmund. Our final game, our final season, 6 years spent at Kenilworth Road and in our new build stadium Power Court. We've taken Luton Town from the little Luton side that had just made the Premier League to now a European powerhouse. Our job is done, a Premier League, a Conference League and our Champions League, and today we say farewell. So in today's episode, what we will be doing is taking a look at what went on around the world this season. It's one kind of like look behind the curtain, if you will, look under the hood of what's going on in the save. I like to do these during my long saves just to show you guys what's currently going on in world football. We'll of course start with the Premier League though, where Man City reclaimed their championship after we won it last season. Of course, we finished in 7th after Liverpool, Spurs and Brighton made up a chaotic top 4 on the final day. The Red Devils in 5th, Arsenal in 6th. We of course did finish in that Conference League spot, now made redundant due to our Champions League win, with West Ham 8th, Newcastle 9th, Fulham 10th, Chelsea 11th, and in the bottom 3 this year with the Saints, Bournemouth and also Sheffield United as well. As for the domestic cups, well of course we know that the Charity Shield was Manchester United, so they thrashed us in the final. Well, it's not even a final, but you know what I'm trying to say. The Super Cup was won by Inter, I meant to show you that last, sorry, but the Carabao Cup, that was won by Arsenal. They beat Swansea City in the Championship on penalties this year. The FA Cup, as you'll see, was won by Manchester City. They beat Chelsea in the final. And as for the Conference League, as you'll see, it was a very interesting Final Four. And in the end, AGF beat Stuttgart on spot kicks. Go on, boys. Fair play. The Europa League this year featured just one English team in the Final Four, but they were knocked out by the eventual runners-up as Eintracht Frankfurt won their 2nd Europa League in history, I believe. And of course, as for the Champions League, well, you know the winners. Luton Town, what a fantastic run to the final, getting through Monaco in the last 16, Bayern in the quarters, knocking out the favourites Real in the semis, and then beating Dortmund in Germany in the final as well. So let's take a look at some other leagues as well, and we shall begin with the Championship, the 2nd tier, of course, of English football, where Everton finished top of the table with 112 points. I think most people probably thought that would happen anyway, with Palace in 2nd, and the playoffs this year will be Wolves, Norwich, Middlesbrough and Ipswich in this year's Championship season. League 1, the 3rd tier, was won by Queen's Park Rangers, Blackpool in 2nd, and the playoffs were Pompey, Wigan, Sheffield Wednesday and Wycombe Wanderers for the right to play 2nd tier football next year. Wow, what's going on with Cardiff City? From Championship to League 2. Talk about a fall from grace in this save. And as for League 2 itself, AFC Wimbledon, Exeter and Carlisle were the top 3 and automatically promoted, with the playoffs being Forest Green Rovers, Stevenage, Gillingham and also Port Vale as well. Propping up the table, Wrexham at the bottom of the Football League in this save. That's not helping Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney feel good about their investment. Ligue 1 this year was won by Paris Saint-Germain, Shotcara finishing a whopping 15 clear of RC Lens, with Stade Rennais and Monaco the top 4 this year. The Bundesliga, well, is this what we're going to see in real life as well? They're off to an amazing start this season. Bayer Leverkusen champions this year, finishing 4 clear of Bayern Munich. Frankfurt and RB Leipzig making up the top 4, with Wolfsburg in 5th and Dortmund in 6th. The Serie A belonged to Inter, finishing 5 clear of Roma, as Fiorentina and Juventus made up the top 4 as well. Milano in 5th, Torino in 6th, and Napoli ended up finishing in 8th, with Atalanta in 9th and Lazio 10th. Some big underperformers there. As for the Eredivisie, well, Ajax might not be having quite as bad of a season. They did miss out on the top 2 places, finishing in 3rd, with Feyenoord 2nd and PSV champions. The Liga Portugal was won by Benfica, with Porto in 2nd, Braga in 3rd and Sporting Lisbon in 4th this year. For those that may be curious about the involvement of the Saudi Pro League, Al Ahly were champions this year, with Al Hilal in 2nd and Al Nassr, which is Ronaldo's team, in third place this year. And the Scottish Premier League was won by Celtic, with Rangers in second this year. La Liga belonged to Atletico, top finishing 3 clear of Barca, with Real Madrid in third place, so knocked out in the semis of the Champions League and didn't recover in the league either, finishing 4 points behind the winners, with Villarreal making the top 4 as well. As for the Turkish Super League, Galatasaray champions this year, finishing 12 clear of Besiktas and Fenerbahce in third. And the final league we'll do is, of course, the MLS, which is just starting to get underway now, as right now Cincinnati are currently leading the way in the MLS. Inter Miami are in 9th place, though of course by now Messi would have retired. And as we take one final detailed look at the side, man, it's going to be hard to say goodbye to this squad, but I'm so happy with the way we built this team throughout the course of our 6 years here. It was fantastic, man, and we had some great academy prospects that were starting to become regulars, either at another club out on loan or in our team as well. You can see a couple of young academy graduates here out on loan in the Premier League with Burnley and Leicester. Fuentes, what a signing he was coming in from RC Lens from Muric, man. It was a shame to sell Muric to West Ham, but I think it's safe to say we definitely made the right call in the end. The Costa Rican came in, he's only 22, but now 89 rated, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, back-to-back Golden Gloves, and look at that, 8 clean sheets in the 12 Champions League games as well. This dude won me so many points with his superb shot-stopping ability. Ryan Giles, one of the 2 OGs that have been here since the save began, now 29 years old, and whilst he did lose his place in the first team to Kirkers, he's still got 28 appearances and almost played half of our Premier League games and played half our CL games as well. Still growing too, up to 84 overall, our vice-captain here, and we'll always love Ryan Giles. James Justin, Luton Town Academy graduate, brought him back for the squad, and to be fair, was a really solid, versatile, dual-sided squad fullback for us. Kirkes, our big signing this year, coming in and did really well, growing 2 ratings to 87 overall and helping us be one of the best defensive teams in the division this year. In my opinion, this was the signing of the save. Dan Ballard coming in the very first episode, I believe. Or was it episode number 2? Might have been episode number 2. But even so, Dan Ballard here from the very get-go for the most part. Up to 86 overall, now 29 years old, in his prime, an absolute unit. And to be fair, that performance in the Champions League final, he made 2 brilliant last-ditch tackles to ensure we would win that trophy. And he scored, of course, in the group opener. Do you remember against Bayern Munich? That was chaos when he slid in at the far post there. Oh, Dan, we love him so much. Cash in our squad centre-half practically right from the get-go at the start of this save here. My Rob Holding up to 76 overall. Never really developed into an amazing centre-half, but what a squad centre-half he was for me, man. Exactly what I wanted. Francisco Correa coming in from Norwich to replace Mendes. A great bit of business at the start of last season. He formed a superb partnership alongside Ballard for the past 2 years. He's up to 87 overall now and still getting a little bit better at 23 years old as well. Hull, our now third choice, doesn't play too much, but when he does, he's a solid centre-half. Only 23, but now to 81 overall, and a nice bench centre-half for Ballard and Correa when one of them needs a breather. Connor Roberts coming in at the start of season 2. Obviously his final year for the club, now joining Chelsea. Is it Chelsea? No, Newcastle, sorry, when the transfer window opens for next season. But great squad right back for me. We never got that long throwing goal we were so desperate for, though we did come close on a few occasions. But Connor Roberts now down to 77 overall. Great bit of business coming in from that relegated Burnley side for the start of season 2. And we talk about great business as well, picking up Renshi from Club Brugge for under £30 million. What a fantastic right back, man. I mean, so consistent, could play both right back and left back, and at 26 years old, still getting a bit better at 85 overall as well. Mr. LV, as he's known by his Spurs teammates in real life. Basuma, I love him, not just for his fashion sense, but also for the fact this guy is so consistent when he's on the pitch, man. He does the dirty work, the defensive work that, I mention this a lot, but that doesn't really show up in the stat sheet, For me, for a player to get a high average rating, they normally need to contribute on the offensive end for assists and goals, but for our DMs, they rarely do that. But he did pick up a couple of assists and get a goal in the league as well, as he grew to 84 overall, now one of our veterans at 32 years old. His successor, Rafael Nyedika, though, 4 years younger, but has now taken over from him. Played 33 games this season, all competitions, 84 rated. Great pickup from Club Brugge, I think it was in the end. Really good pickup there, and now 84 overall. Anderson, of course, brought him back for this season as well, and again, he's the sort of player that just does the defensive work, but he did pick up 4 assists, to be fair, in 21 Premier League games, averaging just under 1 in every 5, with the potential to be special. Grew 3 ratings this year, and there's no doubt about it. This kid, well, it's because he's turned 22 now, but this kid still has that potential to be special and is going to become one of the best DMs in world football in a few years' time. I'm almost certain of that. Charlie Patino brought him back from Lazio, actually. Went from Arsenal to Lazio in the save, and whilst he only scored 2 goals for us in the 2 years, we still love Charlie. He's a DLP. This guy's range of passing was just absolutely fantastic. Whilst he did miss most of the rest of this season due to injury, he was still a great partner for either Basuma or Onyedika, who was the anchor man, and this guy was my DLP. Rarely misplaced a pass, and again, I wish the statistics were more in depth. I'd love to see things like pass accuracy, for example. That's such an important stat in modern day football. I'd love to see that, because I know for sure this guy would have it in the high 80s to early 90s, I would say. Callum O'Hare, what a great budget buy he was from Coventry City at the start of Season 2. He played half my Premier League games, and whilst mainly I just bought this guy off the bench for energy in late games, 94 stamina, and this guy was so versatile, man. He's got good defensive stats, so oftentimes I'll play him as an LCM or an RCM, and I'll be honest here, there were occasions or actually bought him on at wing back, and he was totally fine doing that as well. As a budget buy, Callum O'Hare, what a great squad player to pick up. But we love this man even more. Yep, we love you, Carlos Alcaraz, despite a big injury last season. 8 goals in 23 this year and 7 assists as well. Carlos Alcaraz, since coming in, was absolutely brilliant and so efficient after his signing from Southampton. Such a shame that the injury stopped his development at a crucial time. But 26 in the prime of his career, 84 rated, he's still getting better, and this man still will as well. It's such a shame that the past 2 years, past 3 years really, this guy has just been wrecked through injury. Joel Cox with that recurring broken toe injury. We thought they fixed it in Newcastle. Sadly, they did not. Without those injuries, I am sure that Coxsmith right now will be about 87 rated. Instead, he's only 83 because he's barely been able to grow. Not because I haven't been playing him. I haven't had a chance. He's been in a treatment room through injury. So frustrating. What could have been for Joel Cox. But it's like, have you guys seen that meme on Instagram right now of like Vince McMahon when he's like tearing up and he's like doing the cut camera sort of like gesture? That's how I feel when looking at Joel Cox, man. What could have been for the Wonder Kid, man? Such a shame that the injuries totally wrecked him. But this guy, to be fair, is now starting to take his place. I gave him a lot of game time this season. I know a lot of you guys said you've got to give this guy more game time because he's turning into a fantastic attacking mid, and he was brilliant this year as well. On Dredge, coming through, now 82 overall, growing 4 ratings this year, 4 goals and 6 assists in 31 games, averaging just under 1 direct contribution to a goal in every 3 games. This kid's the real deal, man, honestly. And whilst Cox has been unlucky with the injuries, this guy right now is showing that he's the future in that attacking midfield role. He's a heck of a talent, man, no doubt about it. As I show you a couple of other young players here. Silly Manor really was just a bench player for me. Came off the bench where I needed a bit of burst of pace and energy off the bench. To be fair, with the rapid pace this guy's got, you can see exactly what his play style was. So for me, didn't start in many games, but with the pace he's got, he was perfect to come off the bench in late game situations, and he was alright, he was okay. Stats a bit obscured really by the fact that, again, most of his 28 games came from the bench, but this is one of the players that I'll always remember fondly from Luton Town. Duke, Marmaduke, what a signing midway through Season 2. And it's safe to say that a few of you guys pointed this out in the comments as well. Do you remember when I said, who's been our best signing for Luton Town? I said Dan Ballard, but a few of you guys did say, well, a lot of you guys did say Duke. And some of you rightfully pointed out he made a big difference coming in halfway through Season 2. When we were out of form, we were fearing relegation. This guy came in, scored a few goals, got a few assists, and from then, never looked back. Now, now up to 86 overall and possibly my joint best signing of the save for that half of the season back in Season 2 alone. But he was also clutch, scoring in the final day of the Premier League last season to win the title and scoring the winner in the Conference League final as well. Marmaduke, we love you so much, man. I think the first ever Cape Verdean international I've ever had in any of my career modes. But definitely the best, growing to 86 overall. We love this guy to pieces, man. And whilst his productivity might not be amazing, he's still a fan favourite in this Luton Town team. So moving past a couple of lone players here and a couple of other young players in our team as well, we move forward to the right wing position where we see the Champions League winner with his brace in the final, Mr. Gabriel Long. Don't put your head down, mate. Don't be modest. I'm going to praise you, and you deserve to hear it, because you deserve the praise as well. We all thought that Joel Cox was going to be the star of this save. In the end, it was Gabriel Long. We sent him to Southampton as a boy, and on the South Coast, he dominated and balled out in the Championship, and came back, growed like a 12 rating growth, I think it was, and came back as a man. This dude now is one of the best in world football. 89 rated, his stats speak for itself. And whilst it's true, I missed so many easy chances on one-on-ones with the guy. He did win the assist title in the league this year with 13 and 7 goals as well in the Premier League too. But his most important goals this year, 14 in all competitions and 14 assists as well. His most important goals, those 2 in the Champions League final. I missed so many one-on-ones with this guy, but when it mattered most, and how many times did I say that this season? When I need a goal the most, this guy just seems to pop up and diminish his reputation as a streaky scorer and just get it done. Gabriel, we love you so much. Luton Town's hero, no doubt about it. And as we move forward here, I'll come back to the captain in a moment. Daryl Dike, only the 1 goal since coming in from West Brom at the start of the season, but I only really bought him to be a squad striker and just play on those occasional midweek games, which he did. We got Jolton and the Bartman out on loan. Man, this guy! I really wanted Pavel so I could have his brother. His bro right now at 20 is banging the goals in for fun there in the Eredivisie, man. The Kowalczyk bro is going to tear power cord up next season, man. You love to see it. Can't wait for that. But Elijah Adebayo, just like Ryan Giles, one of the 2 OGs that have been here since the very beginning. 88 rated now, and I said it before, this is why you stick with your man, even when he's misfiring, even when he's inconsistent, you know he's going to come good. I know there were some calls for Adebayo to be sold a couple of years ago, but last season in particular, back in Season 5, he's the reason we won that Premier League title. Always our top scorer. 22 goals in 33 this year and 3 in the Champions League too. Mr. Elijah Adebayo, the club captain, and one of the main reasons why we turned Luton from the little Luton Town team to Champions League, Premier League and Conference winners in 3 years. Elijah Adebayo, what a baller. So next up, we're going to take a look at some of the best players in world football right now, including some of the best youngsters in world football as well. Starting with Luca Romero, of course, one of the best young players in Europe right now. The Argentine is currently at Aston Villa, now 83 rated. You'll see some new gens as I go through this as well. Evan Ferguson has moved on to Atletico Madrid and now back in the Premier League with Aston Villa, now 86 rated. One of my most requested signings since this save began. Jamie Bino Gittins has moved on to Udinese and is now 85 rated, one of the most talented young forwards in this save. Wilfred Nonto has moved on from Leeds to Juventus, now playing in Turin, the young Italian back in Italy. As we see a couple of new gens here. Arda Güler, the young Turkish wonder kid, is now at Juventus, just like Willy Nonto as well, and has some amazing technical stats, including 97 dribbling as well. This guy is a Messi 2.0 for sure. Zaire Emery has moved a few times within this save and is now currently playing for this year's runners-up Liverpool. That English centre-half that we saw has moved on from Milan and is now at Villarreal. El Canus is currently at Rayo Vallecano in this save at 24. Isn't he going to move though? No, he's not. He's at Rayo Vallecano though, now 25 years old. I show you a few new gens here. I think, by the way, this is Messi's region, I think. No, actually he's not. I'm not sure whose region it is, but the Messi region plays for, no, is it? No, it's not. The Messi region plays for Manchester United, doesn't he? And Garnacho, well, you guys saw this during the season. Garnacho has moved on to Liverpool in this save. Talk about your heel turns for the Wonder Kid at Old Trafford, moving to Liverpool there in the Northwest. And Mukoko, in the end, Manchester United won the lottery to pick him up from Brentford. Now 87 overall and balling out at Old Trafford. Question is, will he stay there with no Champions League football at Old Trafford for next season? And for those curious, we are indeed 6 seasons in now, so for anyone wanting to know how Messi and Ronaldo are currently doing in America and Saudi Arabia respectively, the answer is they've both retired. Of course, they've retired long time ago now and no longer in the game. But as for some of the other dominant figures in world football, we'll start off with Mr. Erling Haaland, who of course is still at Manchester City, going for that Alan Shearer goal scoring record right now, still at the Etihad. Kylian Mbappe would of course have to be our next man to show, and he's still at Paris Saint-Germain right now. They did win the Champions League, not this year but last season I think it was, and he's still currently at the Parc des Princes. Let's do Vinicius Jr. next at Real Madrid. A few players I want to show from Real Madrid, and Vinny is still there as well, now 94 overall and 28 years old in his peak at Real Madrid. And we'll next do his teammate, of course, Jude Bellingham, England's golden boy, of course. And there we are, Bellingham, 25 years old now, and as we know, as we've seen, currently part of Manchester United's star-studded lineup. Who should we do next? Let's do Pedri and Gavi from Barcelona, because they've both moved on, I think. Pedri is at Manchester City, as we know. We've seen him before, 26 years old, and now 92 overall. Wow, a lot of these players do have their deals that come at the end of the year, don't they? So Pedri and Gavi as well, the young Barcelona wonder kids. Although Gavi, I think, has also moved on, hasn't he? Where is he? There he is right there. Gavi has also moved on. Yeah, he's got a Paris Saint-Germain within the save, but is now 90 overall. Oh, let's do Musiala next at Bayern Munich. And the dual national Jamal Musiala with Germany and England, but of course represents the former, is currently at Real Madrid. We faced him, of course, in the semis of the Champions League this year. He also has his deal up in 12 months. What's going on? Valverde, we can do him next. Now, we know that this guy's at Bayern Munich, of course, and he's 30 years old now, but 92 overall with 90 stick stamina. You know I love that. This is incredible, man. It's going to be a frenzy for these players in 12 months' time. Let's do Rodrigo next. Speaking of Real Madrid players, let's do Rodrigo next. And he's still at Real Madrid as well. 28 years old, 91 overall. Surely he's not got his deal up. No, he's not got his deal up coming the end of the year. We can do Araujo as well, but of course we faced him in the Champions League final. He's currently playing for Borussia Dortmund right now. So Ronald Araujo, now 30 years old, one of the best centre-halves in world football at 91 overall. Let's do Saka. Saka, of course, is still at Arsenal in the saves, you would have seen by now. 27 years old, but also 90 overall as well. Still balling out in North London, but for how much longer? What is going on with the contract expirations? Speaking of Arsenal, we can do Odegaard as well. I should have written a list already for this, shouldn't I? I'm just winging it here. But Martin Odegaard, 90 overall, also currently still at the Emirates right now. Napoli. Kvaratskhelia, currently at Napoli right now, the Georgian. He's still there, but now 92 overall, with Napoli having a really poor season. And his deal up come the end of next season. Maybe it's time for him to move to Stadio San Paolo. What's his teammate up to? What's our Seaman up to? It seems like there's always an article about this guy apparently wanting out from Napoli, but in the save, that's not been the case at all. 109.5 mil market valuation, 30 years old, but like his Georgian teammate, this might be in his final year in the south of Italy. Florian Wirtz, how's he getting on with Bayer Leverkusen? Is he still there? 26 years old, he is indeed. They just won the Bundesliga this year. Will they do it in real life? Well, I guess we'll find out this season with Xabi Alonso. What can we just say as well, as he's 91 rated and still there at the Bar Arena? What a turnaround! When Xabi Alonso went in there, let's do the Man City crop. When Xabi Alonso went in there, they were a mess. I mean, Leverkusen were a mess when he went in there, as the Stockport Messi is still there at the Etihad Stadium. But he is just completely... When you talk about turnarounds in world football, that's one of the biggest we've seen in the past 18 months. bounce. You have got to give him so much credit for the work he's done there, as Ruben Diaz has moved on to Turin now at 32 years old but 90 rated. Is Rodri retired, or is he still there? No, there he is, 32 years old. Where is he? He's not a Man City anymore. No, he's gone back to Atletico Madrid. 32 years old, but now back at this year's La Liga winners, Atletico Madrid, one of my favourite players in world football. How about... Ooh, well, I know where Frankie is. Actually, I don't know why I said ooh, because I know where he is at Chelsea right now. 32 years old, now 89 overall. Kane must have retired as well. Surely Harry Kane has retired. No, he's still there. Is he still at Bayern? He's not. He's at Inter Milano. 20 acceleration and 17 sprint speed though. Harry, hang him up, mate. It's time to retire. You couldn't get past Per Mertesacker with that sort of pace. And speaking of Inter Milan, that's giving me a good idea. Bastoni, how's he getting on? One of the best young centre-halves in European football in this year's career mode, I believe. 30 years old and still at the San Siro. Now 90 overall. Let's do a few more. Camavinga next comes to mind. We'll do the Real Madrid boys, Camavinga and Tchouaméni. He's also at Inter Milano now. Wow, they've got a great team there. 89 overall. And we know that Tchouaméni has gone to Manchester United. We saw him this season, but I'll show you his stats regardless, as the DM is currently at Old Trafford, now 89 rated in the prime of his career. Speaking of Manchester United, well, they've lost their young Danish forward, Rasmus. He's gone to Juventus, now 26 years old, but 89 overall. Mate, he's a force to be reckoned with there at 6'3". And suppose we could do, well, we know where Enzo is anyway, because he scored against me in the penultimate game of the season. But Enzo Fernandez, 28 years old, still at Chelsea. That monster contract hasn't been worn down yet, and he's still loving life in West London. And to be honest, we could be here for quite a while, so I'll just do a few more. We'll do Xavi Simons next, who is just an unbelievable young talent, isn't he? And now 26 years old, he's currently playing at the San Siro for AC Milan, but his deal is up coming the end of next season. We'll do Sandro Tonali, who is still at Newcastle within the save, but I'll show you his full stats here on the Italian defensive midfielder, 29 years old, but still loving life in the northeast of England and still at St James's. Let's just do a couple more youngsters here, and we shall leave it at that. Starting with Balde, of course, of Barcelona, who is now Atletico, who of course won the Championship and the La Liga title this year. There's a few other Barcelona players I could do, to be fair. Ansu Fati, who of course moved to Brighton on loan, and currently now at 26 years old is now at Bayern Munich. Oh yeah, of course he was. We saw him, didn't we? 88 rated now at the Allianz Arena. Let's do... Vardy's a good shout, to be fair. Moving on from Leipzig to Man City for this year, of course. And the Croatian is now at Monaco, because of course we saw him back in the last 16 of the Champions League this season. And speaking of young Man City players, Rico Lewis, who you might have seen, he's moved on to Fulham in this save. Now, the right back there, 24 years old, 85 overall, moving to West London. Very interesting move indeed. And I think I'll just do one or two more, because we'll be here all day otherwise. Antonio Silva, who is of course one of the best young centre-halves in the game, currently at Benfica, of course, in real life. But within this save, he's moved on to Newcastle United. No, he's moved from Newcastle United to RC Lens. When was that? That was last year. When he was at Newcastle, but now he's gone to the French side RC Lens. Very interesting change for him. And I think the final player we'll do is, I think, one of the best steals of this summer window in real life. Ryan Gravenberch, moving on from Bayern to Liverpool. Well, within this save, he's left Anfield and has now gone to PSG at the Parc des Princes. So, there we go. That shall do it for today's episode and the official final episode with Luton Town. And guys, I just want to say a massive thank you for watching the first 6 seasons of this save. So far, my career stats look like this. Back in Season 1, if you remember, we avoided relegation, and our big money move was Josh Sargent for £4.25 million, as we avoided a drop in Season 1. In our second season, we finished, I think, slightly high, didn't we? When we brought in Max Kilman from Wolves. Great pickup that. Yeah, we did finish in 11th place in the end, and managed to stay clear of the drop. As for the third season, we were so close to our first ever domestic cup and a save, and what would have been the only one in the end, because we finished runners-up to Manchester United in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup final, sorry. Though, of course, we did end up finishing in a Conference League spot that in the end put us in the Europa League, of course. But in the end, in that competition, we were knocked out, and in our way to the why does it say preliminary round? Oh, sorry, no, that's the first knockout round after the group stage. I thought that was the qualifier. No, it wasn't. Sorry, yeah, we were knocked out in the first knockout round, if you will. But we were once again domestic cup runners up to Arsenal in the FA Cup final, with Renchi being our big money signing, and yet another 7th place finish. Then, for the first time ever, I got to play in the Conference League. I was buzzing with that. But that wasn't the best thing about this season. We didn't just win the Conference League, but we also went all the way to win the Premier League as well. It was one of the most famous season finales I've ever had, and there is no doubt about it. One word: chaos. That's how I describe that season finale. But we did win that final day where 4 teams are going for the title. And of course, this season, whilst it doesn't officially show it, due to the fact that we of course end a month before the official season closes out, we did end up finishing 7th place in the Premier League. A horrific league season for us. But we did, at the very least, if not fail domestically, win the Champions League in our final year with Luton Town. So we brought Luton Town 2 European honours, the Conference and the Champions League, and a Premier League as well. Our record transfer fee was Pavel coming in for £77.5 million next season, and my career earnings were 18.6 mil, if only. Our biggest defeat, a thrashing back in season 1, a 5-0 loss against Manchester United, and our biggest win was this season, funny enough, that 5-1 win over Blackpool as well. I played 302 games, we won 147 of them during 76 and losing 79 as well, and that is how we end things. Guys, thank you so much for watching the 6th season of Career Mode and the season, and the save as a whole as well. We will be back in the next episode as we'll be leaving. Where's the browse jobs? Oh, there it is. We'll be leaving Luton Town and going elsewhere for the first time ever. The question is, where are we going? I'll be totally honest, guys. It's slim pickings, but I'll do my best to pick a good team, which will fit the save nicely. Thank you for watching. Farewell, Luton Town. We love the Hatters. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for a brand new season. Our 7th year will begin for the first time ever at a new team very soon.